Hey everyone, I found myself having to draw out a full project in H2X, so I just thought I'd record the process for your benefit whilst I have to do it anyway. So what we'll do is we'll just draw this out from the point of having uploaded the floor plans. So to access the room drawing tools, window drawing tools, door drawing tools, you turn on the heat load tool at the top. You can then start to choose the room types up at the top of the screen here. You just do a left click in each of the internal corners on the plan, like so, like you might already be aware of, but yeah, that's one room done. And then if we go down to the snug, lounge room type for that, but you can't always go into the system settings and set up custom room type. You can also override the room name, and I'll show you how to do that in a second once we've drawn the room type. Now, once it's been drawn, you can see you can click on the room, you can access the air change rate settings, which come from the system settings by default. But if you go into room, you can change around the actual name because a snug might have similar design parameters to the lounge. But yeah, we might just want it to appear as snug on the drawing. Hallway. If you're trying to get two walls in line, you'll see this little blue crosshair will appear. And that means if you do a left click, when that appears and this little dashed line appears coming from it, you can see it's actually coming off the little blue crosshair as well. That means if I do a left click, it'll keep that line in line with that. So the internal wall will line up with the internal wall of the adjacent room. Now, 45-degree angles themselves will get mapped by H2X pretty easily, but if you want to go off on any angle you like, just hold shift and it'll let you do so. Once you get to a point like this where you're next to an adjacent room, H2X is going to suggest an autofill. And if that autofill looks okay, you can see there's a gap between the internal walls. It looks like the room shape I'm looking for. I can just hit tab and H2X will automatically fill that in for me. Similar thing if we go for the living room, for the sitting room here, left click to start it, and we're going to work away from the walls that we've already added in. When you've got a curved wall surface like this, the best thing to do is to hold shift and just add the necessary amount of points to capture that curve. We don't do curved walls per se in the software. Per se, it's a fancy word as well, isn't it? But we don't do curved walls in the software. So best way to do it is just to put the minimum amount of points on there to mimic the curved wall and to essentially have the external walls represented on the plan. Now with this, I'll just come to here, hit tab, I'll automatically fill in those walls for me. And I can just go to the WC here or the toilet and draw that out. Hovering over the adjacent corner, keep it in line like that. Hit tab once we've done it. Now, for that there, where I've tried to line it up, if I was to, when I was here, before I set this wall point, if I was to align over this corner, that would keep the internal walls aligned when I was going that way around the room, rather than obviously starting it from this adjacent point. I can also grab this, align it to there, you'll see that little blue crosshair appear again, where you'll be able to keep the walls in line. We'll then do the kitchen, dining room at the back, left click here, 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 one there. Then when we get to this point here, I'm going to finish this one with a left click. You don't always have to do the tab. I'm going to hit escape. That's one floor drawn. Now I'm just going to go and do level one. Probably won't talk through this one as much, but yeah, feel free to just sit and watch to kind of get a sense of the process. Now the actual bedroom count will be based on the order that you draw them in. So if I went and drew this bedroom next, that would mean that the ordering of those rooms would come in that order, as I mentioned. So it's probably a little bit quicker than going back and editing them individually. And with the new optional room fill tools, you don't have to worry about the order that you draw the rooms in. For some of those more veteran users, you might remember the day where H2X used to automatically snap the rooms. Was a useful feature in some cases, but sometimes it did get a bit annoying when you were trying to just draw a room encompassed within a load of rooms. Not something you need to worry about now, though. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, then yeah, probably best to keep it that way. Okay, now that we have this landing, I'm going to use the hallway room type, but you can see there that it's encompassed fully by internal walls on this wall surface, this wall surface, this wall surface, up until this exterior wall here. So remembering that we can hit tab to autofill a room, you can essentially just put that wall in on that right hand corner. So start in that top right hand corner, go down to the bottom right hand corner, hit tab, and that's auto filled in for you. So you can imagine how much time that might save across a larger building with a few of these sort of like small corridors that are covered by other rooms. That would be the way to do that. Okay, next thing's doors. You can click on the drop down menu here. Now, the door dimensions themselves are taken from the system settings where you have a default height and length. If you go into there and alter that, that will alter the any doors that haven't had dimensions overridden on the plan, and also the ones that you then bring in after you've made that edit. But you can see there, it'll snap to both the internal and the external walls. If you've got a two internal walls next to one another, it will recognize the fact that they are together. So we only have to have one internal door per internal wall either side of it. Okay. Next thing to do would be to add this bifolding door at the back here. Now, this last time I checked was around 3.5 meters wide, but as you can see, if you click on any element there, you can edit the length, edit the height, edit different parameters on there. And that's how you put the doors into place. Now for windows, you obviously got windows and skylights. Skylights themselves can be added onto a vaulted ceiling, which we'll cover in a second. But for the windows, it's a case of going and doing a left click on the plan to start the window, a second left click to finish it. Now the click that you do needs to be on this navy blue or darker line that overlays the PDF, because that's the room that we've traced on top of the plan and what we're actually going to tag the window to. H2X doesn't recognize anything on there automatically, so it doesn't know there's a window here, it doesn't know there's a wall there, but it does know there's a wall here where we've drawn it. So left click there, left click there, left click here, left click here, one here, one here. Now the windows can take a little bit longer and it's probably a little bit boring to watch, but what you would do is you would click on those. You can click on multiple at the same time as well if you wanted to make edits at the same time on a given window, but you would essentially have to go around, edit the lengths. The height can be changed in the system settings, and yeah, that will essentially edit all of the heights of the windows on the plan unless they've been overridden individually. To add the skylights, go into the vaulted ceiling tool here, draw around the portion where you have the skylights or where you have the vaulted ceiling, and this is over the top of the kitchen dining area below, and there is a small vault on it. So that would mean we need to switch this over to a shed roof. The arrow points up the slope, so it points up the slope like this. You'd have to rotate that. And this has been placed on top of the box shaped room below, which is at 2.4 meters. Now, if that goes up to, say, 2.6 meters, that means there's a 200 mil rise on there, as per that diagram shown. And that will add the additional sloped, well, increased surface area of that ceiling. And now that we've done that, we can go into the window skylight tool and just place them down where they're located. Again, the skylight dimensions can be changed and added in the system settings, but yeah, they can also be changed by clicking on them, change the U values and everything like that on there as well. So without putting all the windows on, you can see that this building's got a heat loss of around 6.6 kilowatts, likely to change with the added detail. But I thought that this video would be useful for anyone who just wants to sort of see a full design being done on an example set of floor plans, maybe a few speed tips in there if you didn't know them already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.